Hello everyone, and welcome back to Guild Wars 2. Today we are doing Section 3, Night of Fires of the Path of Fire expansion pack. This was it ends up being a pretty intensive section. It starts off like just information gathering, have we heard anything about Balthazar and where his whereabouts are, and then they direct me towards scouts outside of a couple of forged camps. The forged are pretty much just Balthazar's complete and utter loyalist followers at this point. So we speak to the scouts and they're like, you think if we saw Balthazar here, we would be here right now? No, we would definitely not be here if Balthazar was here. But you are more than welcome to try and go into that camp that I'm watching and see what you can find. Like, that's literally all of the information that the scouts gave me. Like, they gave me, like, these little missions, like, oh, you can destroy the cannons while you're in there. And my character's like, yeah, let's do it. And, like, I go in and I have, like, these giant spiky bombs that I throw at the cannons. And that's, like, my whole mission. And, like, I think I coincidentally find information or something at this point. I'm not gonna lie, I've already finished Path of Fire at the time of recording this. Like, it went so fast. It went so fast compared to even, like, the original base game. And, Heart of Thorns, like, it feels like this has just flown by. So I was trying to figure out how to sneak into this camp because I made the mistake of just going balls to the wall and, like, just diving head first and not actually, like, processing how many people are in this camp, because, like, when you initially, like, walk up to it, there's, like, nobody. There's no guards or anything. Like, they're just all hanging up, like, at the top part with all the cannons. Like, that's where they all are, and they all come down and destroy you for making the mistake of infiltrating. But once I figured out, like, where they were and everything, it was pretty simple just to go up. And, like, you literally just had to drop a bomb next to the cannon, like, in the range, and, like, that was the whole mission. So once I figured out, like, that's all I had to do, I was just shadow stepping my way over there. Like, shadow step is so obnoxious. I love it. I love that, like, the little missions like this, it's just whatever. And I could step out for a minute, let them forget about me, stealth my way back in, put it on another cannon, and then I realized how many, like, cannons and stuff there were, and I could just run around grabbing these bombs and just putting them on the cannons and, like, not really giving two shits about who was around. I was just like, whatever. And just went on my merry way. I did use my bow quite a bit in Path of Fire. I obviously still use my daggers and, like, the daredevil, assassin, thief type abilities, but the bow just comes into play a lot. It's nice to have that range on characters in this particular set of missions. Like, there's quite a few missions where you can just pick people off from the outside, or, like, keeping your distance is beneficial because they're all like, I'm on fire. And so if you're stepped back from them, you're not on fire too. It's just what it is. It's super nice to have mounts, and I did not realize that unlocking mounts on one character meant that all of your characters now have mounts and gliders. because I haven't really been playing my other character that much since the middle of Heart of Thorns. Like, realistically, that was the last time I played my druid. Well, she's not a druid yet, she's a ranger. Ranger is the base class for that. And then we go into the other camp, and I was fortunate somebody else was doing the exact same mission. Like, clearly he strolled in when I did, and we were both like, alright, bet. And we just beat up all the guys in the camp together and found the clues that we needed to find, and he could see where I was and I could see where he was, and we could, like, it was nice just to have not even like working together, but like working together. Didn't have to say anything, didn't have to like really acknowledge each other. We just had to, whoop, here we go. So once we explore these camps and get some information, we go to this big forged encampment area. We meet up with Canuck, Ritlock, and Casimir. Casimir and everybody's a little bit more helpful. Ritlock seems to glitch out a little bit in this. It is the annoying part is that I'm using a short bow and not a long bow, so like the range isn't quite what I would want it to be. But it makes a good argument for having like that rifle Deadeye specialization. I still like the daredevil one though. I'm glad I went that route. That's exactly what I wanted. So yeah, we're in Destiny's Gorge is what it's called, and it's just this huge encampment of forged baddies, and we just fight our way through. That's pretty much it. There's a couple of little like, don't let them raise an alarm because we're gonna have way too many people to handle if they raise an alarm, which yeah, obviously, but also like I understand that the camp's not that big, but realistically speaking, they would know. How are they gonna know? They're gonna know. How are they gonna know? They're not gonna know. Yeah, no, they would totally know. Like, that we were not subtle. There was no subtlety in any of the things that we were doing. Like, I was dropping poison and bombs, and like, it's not. I was the opposite of a stealthy person. The opposite of a thief, I think, at this point. Just because I am invisible doesn't mean I'm not a problem. The forged sharpshooters are a pain in the butt, though. Like, I'll take the wall guys over the sharpshooters any day, because the sharpshooters, they target you so that other forged can hit you for more damage, and they have an insane range. Insane. I mean, it's probably like a rifle range, but like it is thoroughly obnoxious how far away they can be to hit you with a short bow or daggers or teleporting to them. Like, they're outside of my teleportation range. Like, it's what? Unnecessary, uncalled for. I should be able to shadow step or stealth backstab my way over to them, and I can't half the time, and it's infuriating. They're not the most obnoxious things in the game, but like, it's just a teensy tiny bit annoying. Especially when you get to like 1,000 of them, which is, I died. So there's that. And so once we get far enough into the camp, it's like, oh, there's these captains, we should beat up these captains, on top of, you know, not setting off the alarms, because I mean, by this point, we're basically, so we're outside the gates, at this point. And then, like, once we get in through the gates, like, we're in the main part of the camp. Like, it's an odd setup, truthfully. But, you know, whatever. Knock lockpicked it. Because, of course, we just lockpick fire gates now. Like, that's what we do with our lives, is we can lockpick a gate that's flaming and on fire. That, you know, the god of war set up. Maybe not, you know, him himself, but, like, really? I don't know. And then, like, we're literally in the middle of the camp, and it's like, stop this guy from sending off the alarm. And I'm like, I'm essentially on a stage at this point in the middle of 6 different groups of Forged, and I have to stop the person trying to take on the alarm? Like, what? Whatever, we did it. We wanted the achievement. And then we go through and we kill the officers, which is its own pain in the butt. And honestly, like, again, they themselves are not that obnoxious. It's because they just throw 1,000 guys at you and say, here you go. And, Ritlock, after completing Path of Fire, I feel like Ritlock should be a little bit stronger than what they represent him as. I will explain that later. But actually, yeah, we do this without Casimir. This particular part. She is at the temple of Cormier right now. While we are doing this. I'm kidding. I mean, Path of Fire redeemed Casimir a little bit, but she's still not the most helpful of Mespers. She will never be the most helpful of Mespers, but she was more helpful than she was in the Living World or in Heart of Darkness. I mean, realistically, she wasn't even in Living World Season 3. Like, you saw her, and then she was like, I'm out, Cub Scout. And she showed up again when we started this, like, oh yeah, I'll come help, like, whatever, she had a change of heart. So then we take out the last boss. I didn't realize how long I was in this Forged camp for. I didn't realize this was the chunk of the mission that was the longest. I thought the last part was the longest, but here we are. So we beat up this last captain, and then, of course, we get this nice big war machine thing, because obviously, so this is what I mean by sometimes it's helpful to have that ranged weapon and a bow and a dodge ability. Well, when I dodge, I get a speed boost. I don't know if that's just how my character is set up or if that's everybody gets that, but with how this particular boss is set up, like how most of the bosses are set up in this particular expansion is like there's a ring before the ability hits, so like you can dodge out of it, which is nice, but like also you can stand far enough back because they've got all of these like AoE like in your face abilities, so like if you're standing in their face, you're gonna have a bad day. I mean, you're gonna have a bad day anyway because they've got 400 people that just keep respawning around them because obviously like there's just an endless source of them. And there's a couple of times I just walk into fireballs and then I remember I have a mount and it's a whole thing. It's just a whole thing taking out this guy. And then like as I'm like respawning, people keep like coming down the hill, and I had just been running past them, so like more people had just been like slowly going down the hill. I was like, alright, I guess we finally have to take out this lot. But literally, like, there were just always more forged. Always. And then apparently he has a fear. If you're too close to his butt, he doesn't want his butt itched. Who doesn't want to be stabbed in the butt? Bad guy, apparently. Yeah, it's nice to switch up and be like, okay, I'll just shoot everything, and then, okay, I'll just slice this machine with my daggers. Call it a day. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the circling fireballs of hell. He just spins in a circle and just lets out all these fireballs. But if you were far enough away from the fireballs, they'd split and you could stand in the middle of them. And they wouldn't touch you, or they'd barely touch you. But like, if you were close to him, the fireballs just ate your face off. So I switched back to the bow again and was trying to avoid the fireballs. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But it got to that point where I'm like, can you just die, please? Like, we're clearly past the point of you being an issue. So once we beat them up, we're like, okay, let's go check on Kaz, let's go check on the temple. So we head over to the temple, and we meet up with, oh, it's not cool. So I think, so we meet up with Kaz and we talk to her and see how everything's going, and then this dude shows up, and it's sort of like Order of Whispers, but instead it's like Order of Shadows or something silly. And then the Herald of Balthazar shows up again because of course, and then they haven't given us something silly to do in a while. So instead of just straight up fighting the Herald of Balthazar, we have to fight them and try to save all the people because, obviously. So they give us this like call the people to us ability. So we have to kind of lead them away from the bad guy and to safety. Which, I mean, for the most part was not that difficult. Like, I really expected it to be like obnoxious, but the pathing of the Herald was just to like seek out the different groups where they initially were. So if you move them ahead, or you just happenstanced into a group of them and moved them over, and I just ended up with this huge grouping of people all over there while everybody else was messing around with the Herald. Like, I moved everybody, and then eventually, like, the Herald was like, oh, everybody's over here, and circled back around, but I had an insane amount of time where they were not attacking the people, which I was surprised. I was expecting it to be a way bigger pain in the butt to protect the people. I was expecting the peoples to die. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as they said protect the people, I'm like, that's just not gonna work. That's just not gonna work for me. They're gonna but I think we only lost like 2 or 3 of them. And then we had to revive the clergy members, and then we talked to him, and then we're done. So that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye guys.